Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fort Smith Board of Directors regular meeting, December the 2nd, 2025, here at the Blue Lion. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Director Neil Martin will lead us in an invocation, and I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your head with me. Father, we're thankful to be here tonight. What an honor it is to do the business of the city of Fort Smith, Lord, and I pray that you would be with us and watch over us as we do it, Lord. Be with those that are coming to speak to the board. I pray for wisdom for them. I pray for a spirit of unity. Lord, I just pray that you would be with us and watch over us. And be with this board as we deliberate, as we make decisions. Lord, we pray that your wisdom would fall upon us. I pray that you would guide us as we move our city forward. And Lord, we thank you and we love you. And we ask all these things in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Now, as we ask our beloved clerk to call the roll, I just want to share with everybody that as of yesterday, it is our clerk Sherry Gard's 15-year anniversary of service to the city of Fort Smith as city clerk. She clearly started working very young. So, Madam Clerk, may you please call the roll for us?
Certainly. Directors Rigo.
Here.
Good.
Here.
Kemp.
Here.
George Katsavas.
Here.
Christina Katsavas.
Here.
Settle.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Does any member of the board have a presentation of any item of business not already on the agenda for the evening? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve as written the minutes of the November 18th regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, just a reminder, moving into the agenda, a motion and a second to adopt each item must be offered before director comments are made, and public comments on items must pertain to the presented item. First, before we get into the full agenda, we have a presentation, one of the highlights of our year every year, from Ms. Deanna Rice, the Executive Director of the Senior Retired Citizens Association. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm Deanna Rice. I'm the Executive Director of the Fort Smith Senior Center, and I'm glad it's the highlight because it's also the highlight of our time of the year. And this is my 20th year of doing this.
Wow. Thank you very much.
So, and we enjoy it very much. 20 years ago, Mayor Ray Baker was the one. He served on our board, SRCA board, and he was the board chairman, and he was the one that hired me to replace the outgoing executive director. And they were presenting the Christmas card long before I come along. So, and I know Mayor Baker kept lots of things in his office. So there's probably, you know, back then, Christmas cards with dust and all kinds of things on it. So, but we do appreciate it, and we do appreciate very much what the city of Fort Smith does for us, helping fight hunger with our seniors. And last month, you know, we put out over 6,000 meals in the city of Fort Smith just to the seniors here in Fort Smith. And that sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because we have about 60 people on waiting list of elderlies that are waiting, you know, for our services, that funding has gotten very difficult. So I know things are tough and I know it's hard, but we do appreciate it. We do. I know you guys have a tough job, and we appreciate everything that you do. So we do have something just to show our appreciation to you guys.
Thank you very much. And to all the seniors watching, or if anyone seeing this recording afterwards, thank you very much for the effort and the love that you put into this card for us. We really appreciate it. Thank you again, ladies. And on that festive and heartwarming note, we'll go right to item number 1, which is an ordinance rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map, industrial light special to industrial light at 3706 Towson Avenue. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This first item, as you mentioned, is an ordinance rezoning property at 3706 Towson Avenue. Deputy City Administrator Maggie Rice will speak to this item.
Yes, thank you. On November 10th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 3706 Towson Avenue from Industrial Light Special to Industrial Light, or I-1. The property contains a little over 5 acres and is located on the west side of Towson. The proposed rezoning facilitates the construction of a 40-pad RV park with amenities. A neighborhood meeting was held on November 3rd. One neighboring property owner attended the meeting with no objections. At the Planning Commission meeting, Ms. Evan Kohler was present to represent the application. There were none present to speak in favor or opposition. The Planning Commission voted 6 in favor with 0 opposed to recommend that the Board of Directors amend the zoning map.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Madam Clerk, has any citizen signed up to speak on item 1?
We just have Ms. Evan Kohler to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules?
So moved with suspension of the rules.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
It's an ordinance rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map, and this is for property located at 3706 Towson Avenue.
Any comments or questions from directors? Director Settle.
I do. Maggie, a couple things. The property in the front is going to continue to stay as C5, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then the proposed 40 lots, are they going to be temporary? Or are people going to be transiting in and out, or are they going to be more like people are going to park there and live there? Because I see a lot of this up in Northwest Arkansas where you see these developments where people, they put an RV there and that's it. Is that kind of the thought here? Is it's going to be more
So
of a,
this is not a mobile home park. That's a separate land use. An RV park is by nature temporary.
Okay.
And the Planning Commission did limit the stay to 6 months. They had a near identical conversation.
Okay.
And they limited the development plan, the stay, to 6 months at a time.
why limit the stay?
To 6 months?
Yeah.
Because that is temporary as defined by the building code. So that was the number that they landed on, was 6 months, and that was in concurrence with Ms. Kohler.
If they came back in a couple of years and wanted to make it more permanent, would there be many changes needed to be done to do that?
Yes, a permanent establishment for mobile homes or this type of land use is completely different. It's a different zoning district, in fact.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just know that Northwest Arkansas sees a lot of these up there where mobile home parks where people work and they go to their RVs and that's where they live at. So that's the reason I was asking.
Yes, it's my understanding that the applicant, Ms. Kohler, the intention is not ever to have this as a mobile home park, but an RV camping establishment.
Very cool. Thank you.
Director Martin.
Maggie, is the pickleball court the only amenity here?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, there are some walking trails and sidewalks that will be embedded inside. But yes, other than that, I think those are the only amenities that are proposed. This is, on the eastern side of Mill Creek, so they'll, then that is where the pickleball court and walking trails and such will be located.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Rigo,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas. Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
May we please have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas. Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Motion passes, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. Item 2 is an ordinance rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map from residential multifamily medium density 3 to a planned zoning district at 3505 Johnson Street. Ms. Rice.
Yes, sir. On November 10th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 3505 Johnson Street from an RM3 zone to a planned zoning district. The proposed planned zoning district will allow for the existing church building to be utilized for a government office, which is a tax preparation business, and other uses listed within the land use chart. A neighborhood meeting was held on October the 30th. 3 neighboring property owners attended the meeting with traffic concerns and questions regarding the type of land uses permitted. At the Planning Commission meeting, Ms. Bonneau was present to represent the request, and there were none present to speak in favor or opposition. The Planning Commission voted 6 in favor with 0 opposed to recommend that the zoning map be amended.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did any citizen sign up to speak on item 2?
Yes, Ms. Bonneau is here to answer questions.
Thank you for being here. May we have a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules?
So moved
Second.
suspension of the rules.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map, and this is for property located at 3505 Johnson Street.
Thank you. Director Martin.
Maggie, there are several conditional uses in the land use. If the owner chooses to, in the future, go to one of those conditional uses, does it have to come back to the Planning Commission or the board?
It has to go back to the Planning Commission, yes, sir.
Okay, for conditional use?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the conditional use based off of, we make this change tonight if they make a change in the future?
Yes, if they choose to do one of the land uses that's listed as a C within that land use chart, it will require an additional public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions on item 2? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas. Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
May we please have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors George Katsavas. Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes.
Motion passes, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. Item 3 is an ordinance amending the master land use plan map and rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map, master land use plan residential detached to residential attached, rezoning industrial moderate I2 to residential single-family duplex high density at 1815 and 1819 Worsing Avenue. Ms. Rice.
Yes, sir. On November 10th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider the subject master land use plan amendment and rezoning applications. The proposed master land use plan amendment to residential attached and zoning to residential single-family duplex high density or an RSD 4 zone facilitates construction of 2 duplexes on individual lots. A neighborhood meeting was held on October 30th. There were no neighboring property owners in attendance. At the Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Hamilton was present to represent these applications, and there were none present to speak in favor or opposition. The Planning Commission did vote 6 in favor with 0 opposed to recommend that the master land use plan map and zoning map be amended.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did any citizens sign up to speak on item 3?
Yes, we have Mr. Charles Hamilton to answer questions.
Thank you for being here, sir. May we please have a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules?
So moved. Suspension of rules.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
It's an ordinance amending the master land use plan map and rezoning identified property and amending the zoning map, and this is for properties located at 1815 and 1819 Worsing Avenue.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from directors? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas. It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. May we please have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved. Second.
Please call the roll.
Directors Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rego,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas, Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Motion passes, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. Item 4 is an ordinance setting the dates, time, and location for regular meetings of the Board of Directors for the year 2026. This was placed on the agenda back on the November 10th study session. Madam Clerk, any introductory comments?
I will just advise that at the November 10th study session, the board reviewed various meeting dates for 2026. Only the dates, time, and location of regular meetings are required to be set by ordinance, so the proposed item retains the regular meeting time of 6 o'clock p.m. and the meeting location here at the Blue Lion in 2026. Regular meetings have historically been held on the first and third Tuesday of each month, and the proposed ordinance retains that for 2026, with the exception of October and November. In October, the first regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, October the 5th, and this alternate date is to allow the mayor and members of the board to attend the annual law enforcement event known as National Night Out, which is always held on that first Tuesday in October. In November, the first regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, November the 2nd. This change is because 2026 is a general election year, and the election will be held on Tuesday, November the 3rd. The alternate date is proposed merely to allow either the mayor or any director at large seeking re-election to campaign until the polls close at 7:30.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any citizens sign up to speak on item 4?
None indicating.
Okay, then we need a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules.
So moved with suspension of rules. Second.
Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance setting the dates, time, and location for regular meetings of the Board of Directors for the year 2026.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from directors? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Martin,
Yes.
Rego,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas, Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. Item number 5 is an ordinance repealing Section 2-47-2 of the Fort Smith Municipal Code regarding board member attendance at meetings by electronic means. Madam Clerk.
Yes, in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, public health officials recommended limiting in-person attendance at public meetings by the members of the governing body. Due to that recommendation, the board adopted Ordinance 23-20, which defined the term present and allowed board members to attend meetings electronically. This allowed them to be counted for a quorum and to vote. Act 505 of 2025 provided multiple amendments to the Freedom of Information Act, but specifically requires that members of a governing body be physically present to be counted for a quorum or to vote, except during a governor-declared disaster emergency. This means that electronic attendance is no longer permitted. The city attorney thoroughly reviewed Act 505 and recommended repealing Section 2-47, subsection 2, which allows for electronic participation at public meetings by the board. The proposed ordinance keeps the definition of present, but removes the section permitting electronic attendance, so the city remains compliant with state law.
Thank you very much. Did any citizens sign up to speak on item 5?
Yes, we have Joe Elskin.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Elskin.
Thank you. I'm concerned about the board, so when I looked at that, I thought, you know, if you can't be here or if you come late, I feel like that you should be able to participate in discussion electronically, but not vote. Okay, follow the law, not vote. I feel like these are tough times, and you all represent different wards, different populations. You have different expertise and different concerns. All of you want this city to improve. All of you do. Maybe you have different ways of getting there, but you want that. So I feel like I would like the board to be aware of the necessity of working together and honoring each other. When you all work in your planning sessions, you all honor one another. But when you have pressure from the audience, and the worst case scenario, when an audience member or more than once gets to speak for 5 minutes against a board member, that destroys the board ability to really work. When anyone is attacked, it undermines the integrity of the board. So I feel like every member should be able to participate, maybe not vote, but all of you should be supportive of one another. If I have a disagreement, I'll talk to you privately. And I may say awful things privately, but I won't say them publicly because I respect this board. Even when I disagree with you, I respect you. So I would like for you to look into maybe do what other cities do, limit personal attacks, cut someone off from saying things that are personal attacks. What's wrong with that?
Thank you, Ms. Elskin. Appreciate your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Clerk, anyone else signed up on item 5?
That's all.
Thank you. Now we'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules.
So move suspension of rules.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance repealing Section 2-47-2 of the repealing Section 2-47 subsection 2 of the Fort Smith Municipal Code regarding board member attendance at meetings by electronic means.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from directors? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Rigo,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you very much. Items 6A through 6J are the various capital improvement plans. 6A is a resolution approving and authorizing implementation of the 5-year sales tax program for streets, bridges, and associated drainage improvements. 6B authorizes and approves implementation of the Streets and Traffic Control Capital Improvements Plan and implementation of the 2026 Sidewalk Program. 6C authorizes and approves the implementation of the 5-year capital improvement plan for the 1/8% sales and use tax for Parks and Recreation. 6D approves and authorizes implementation of the 10-year capital improvement plan for the Solid Waste Services Department. 6E is a resolution adopting the 2025 Transit Asset Management Plan for the Fort Smith Transit Department. 6F is a resolution approving and authorizing implementation of the 2026 Prioritized Capital Improvement Plan for Water. 6G approves and authorizes implementation of the 2026 Capital Improvement Plan for Non-Consent Decree Wastewater. 6H approves and authorizes implementation of the 10-year Capital Improvement Plan for Consent Decree Wastewater. 6I approves and authorizes implementation of the 5-year Capital Improvement Plan for the Fort Smith Police Department. And J approves and authorizes a 5-year sales and use tax program for the Fire Department capital improvements. Mr. Administrator, were there opening comments that any department heads wanted to make, or shall we go to any comments from citizens?
I believe we go to comments from citizens.
Okay. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up to speak on any of 6A through J?
Yes, just one. Crystal Cadelli on item 6C.
All right.
I have 2 minutes.
Welcome, Ms. Cadelli.
Good evening. I want to speak on item C. And, you know, looking at the 2026 parks budget for the 1/8 sales tax, they have budgeted $7.3 million in capital projects. And then on non-capital projects, roughly $3.9 million. So, I have concerns with that dollar amount since we have talks again about getting our sewer and water rates increased. And, we have the director of the Senior Citizen Center up here saying that they have 60 elderly people waiting on meals because they can't afford food. And I just think that we need to take that $4.2 million for the water slide out of that $7.3 million. That is considered a capital project. And we need to put the $4.2 million back into the general fund and quit making the citizens' sewer and water rates increase. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May we, now we'll entertain a motion to adopt Resolutions 6A through 6J.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I have questions.
I'll second the motion so we can talk to
Yep.
discussion.
Director Martin.
I have a question about C, and then I have a question about another one. We'll get to it in just a second. So with item C, it kind of relates to what Ms. Cadelli talked about. We as a board haven't talked about it, but, we've had a lot of disagreement about the slides. We've already paid the money for a majority of the slides, 3 point some odd million. There's another 600,000 ready to go, or that remains to be paid. We've gotten bids and estimates about what it will take to complete the slides, not knowing what we're ultimately going to do. I've heard Director George Katsavas, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think Director Christina Katsavas talked about selling the slides. I think one of the things that we have to look at, however, is if there's any additional dollars, that's a big if. I don't know what the board is going to do, but if there's any additional dollars that need to be paid for these slides to get them up, I feel like that this needs to come from Parks. And I'm not saying that, I don't know what the board's going to do with these slides, but I don't think they can come from, I don't think we can expend any more general fund dollars. So we've got this CIP here for Parks that I feel like we need to put a hold on until we figure out what we do with these slides, and then approve at that point. If any additional dollars need to come out, I think they've got to come out of Parks. I'm with Ms. Cadelli. I think we should have paid for the $4.2 million out of Parks, and we had it there, and I don't want to rehash all that, but I think any additional dollars, if any additional dollars need to be spent, I think they need to come out of Parks. So I'm going to be a no on this at this point till we talk it through and kind of make those decisions. But that's my thought process. So as it sits today, this CIP I'm not good with.
Okay. Director Camp.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Director Martin, to your comments, one thing I would say is, are these CIPs amendable?
They are amendable, and the projects will come to us.
Okay.
They 100% will come to us. I just have a fear that once they come to us, we're all a yes. So we're going to have to make the decision of what we're going to have to cut at that time after they're ready to bring us a project. I say we pause this, and I don't know what that means to you.
I can, if you'd like.
Well, let me hold on just one second. We'll finish this and we'll come back to you. But I feel like at that point we're now going to individual projects, which one we want, which ones we don't, and I would rather make this decision now, put the pause now, and then deal with it.
I understand your perspective. Thank you for sharing. Ms. Duster, does the interest earnings of the park dollars that are held, in the trust of the bank, are those allocated in this CIP? Is it just the bank interest? Was that allocated in this plan?
It is not in this plan, but
Okay.
for those numbers, I'd have to defer to finance.
Right. So one thing I would say, is I've been talking to a couple local contractors on this, trying to get them to help us see if there is any way more realistic viable option. It does seem like there is a more realistic viable option, but we're still trying to tighten up on a few things and get some other bids on like rebar and concrete and some cost. So there's some work there. One thing that I was going to point out was there is, I think, and Andy, maybe you can speak to this, but there is a $500,000 from interest earnings, correct, upon these dollars that perhaps maybe could be going towards something that the board decides to use it towards? Is that something you could come and speak towards? And then also, Ms. Duster, I would like to, in my time allotment, have you speak to what would this delay by delaying this? So, but if you want to go ahead and speak to that while Andy's coming, that'd be fine. Yeah.
So I think it's important to note that, yes, there is $7.3 million in expenditures. However, $3.5 million of that is funded through grants. So pretty much the only thing we would be able to eliminate is something worth $300,000. Because do we want to delay not doing stuff that is dilapidated and needs fixed on a future conversation? Because, honestly, in our experience, sometimes it's a couple weeks and sometimes it's several months. So we're having to juggle, are we going to get these dollars, or are we going to use pretty much all of our operating funds that are already limited to make it to where people can still use it? So it kind of puts us in a difficult position, because we presented this CIP and we had these plans to get going, but if we have to use all of our standard operating budget to make sure citizens can still enjoy these amenities, then we're going to have to come back for more money to operate later in the year, just to be fully transparent.
Thank you for sharing that. Andy, do you have a number there that you're able to pull up?
Let's see. So, yeah, so it looks like, based upon the balances, she's probably, the park's sales tax fund's probably earning about $100,000 a year. So if she's not, I don't know how she allocated, if she just allocated current year
Dollars.
Receipts and the grant funds that she's anticipating, then she's not looking at the existing funds. It typically carries about, well, at the end of September 30, there was a couple $1 million left in the parks sales and use tax fund at the end of the third quarter.
Thank you. So there's the other thought is this, that as they're trying to tighten down on if there is some other opportunity with metal or concrete, is this could be phased, instead of storing them somewhere where that would be a great cost associated with that, building them on site in the air can be done closer to the 600 number. It's still going to need a couple $100,000 above that, but that would be, you could phase it, you could do phase one and do that with some of the interest earning dollars, and so that they are actually there and in place. The things that are driving the cost of that, as I've dived into this project, is the pump house and the commodities that go along with the pump house. And at the bottom of the slides and at the bottom of the pump house essentially is a huge underground pool. And so there are ways to separate this project in a way to get more competitive bidding. There are ways maybe to talk to people about a concrete cost and our rebar cost. And then I think there are ways to look at this interest earnings from the bank to help the shortfall there. And so I feel confident that there's ability to build those slides on site without touching the CIP of the park plan as it stands here. But obviously, I can respect your pause on it, but it sounds as if also that it does consternate due diligence of the park. So that's where I'm just giving my comments to at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Christina Katsavas.
Well, I would say to hang the slides up where they look like they're operational, but they're not. I think that's going to make people more upset. I think that's just dishonest, where it looks like we're trying to pull something over on everybody. Like, look, we got them up. You still can't use them. Initially that $4.2 million was supposed to be all-inclusive. It was supposed to include the concrete. It was supposed to include the pump house. But I don't know that I want to see that money come out of parks. I want to see the park sustaining itself. That's what I would like to see, is for us to not keep pouring money into Parrot Island, for it to be self-sustaining. We stood out in the cold last night at Creekmore, and we served hot chocolate and popcorn, and I don't know how many people I saw that had holes in their shoes, or maybe they didn't have a jacket on, maybe they couldn't afford a jacket. but they're paying taxes too. They're out, they're buying things, they're paying taxes too. And I think that money should go back into the parks that they can use, not a park they can't afford to go to. Thank you.
Okay, and Director Martin, I believe you had a question on 7E or 6E as well?
Yeah, so I had some conversation with Jeff and earlier today, looking at, as we're looking at budget for 2026, there's about a $300,000 impact to the general fund for capital expenditures out of transit in 2026. When I started looking at that and looking at those dollars, I've had the folks that are, and I'm not advocating this yet, I'm not advocating for this, but we have a potential situation with the cemeteries. And if I'm not saying we're funding cemeteries, but the communication that I've gotten, I think the board has gotten, is those are going to get turned over to the state. And do we have a situation on our hands at that point? I would like to conserve and save as much money as we can, especially out of the general fund, in case something happens with these cemeteries and we're forced to take them on. I'm not saying we are taking them on. I'm not advocating for that at all. But I think we're looking at a couple things, and we just talked about one of them, slides, and we're looking at these cemeteries that are potential things that are waiting to hit us in the face that, even on top of the budget cuts that we were talking about, are going to come, and we're going to be potentially faced with some potential items that are going to deplete our fund balance and drive us negative out of the general fund. So what I'm saying here is put a one-year pause on transit spending, $300,000. I know that takes us out of consideration for a number of capital expenditures that are funded federally, but I think there's some things that we've got to do that we've got to prepare ourselves on, and I think pausing this for a year is something we need to do.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on items 6A through J? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Kemp,
Point of inquiry, sorry, I want to ask a question here. Those are valid comments we talked about. Are we wanting to table items to the 16th of December, just so that due diligence can be done on those, or are we just going to vote yea or nay?
Vote.
All right, yes.
George Katsavis,
No.
Christina Katsavis,
No.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
No.
Rigo,
Yes to all but F. I'm a no on F.
okay. Good.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 4 in favor and 0 all opposed on all items, with the exception of item 6F.
What?
I'm sorry.
I have a point of inquiry. It was, they voted all together, so are the no votes wished to be noes against all of the items, or are they wished to be noes against particular items?
Well, the motion was to adopt collectively, as if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Never mind.
Okay. So we have with item F, it is defeated because there were 4 noes on F. Okay. All the others are adopted.
Thank you very much. Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Aqualaw PLC for legal assistance with consent decree related matters. Mr. Dignan.
Thank you. Item 7 is a resolution approving an agreement with Aqualaw LLC for legal services related to consent decree matters. Director of Water Resources Lance McAvoy will speak to this item or answer questions from the board.
Thank you, Mr. McAvoy.
Since 2017, we have been utilizing Aqualaw PLC to aid us in negotiations with DOJ and EPA on the consent decree. Some of the things that they have done is they have helped us reduce stipulated penalties that were assessed, as well as move our negotiations forward. Last year, we began doing a year-by-year agreement as opposed to amending the agreement that we had. This is an as-needed basis. So basically, when we're working on stuff, we get billed. If there's times that DOJ is in waiting, there is no billing. So that is where we're at. I have provided the update for the 2026 hourly rates, and I'll stand for questions.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up to speak on item 7? Any citizen?
Yes, we have one, Joey McCutcheon.
All
For
right.
2 minutes.
Mr. McCutcheon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I think there are times when clearly we need specialized legal services in the city, and I think this is one of them. However, I have concerns about the state of negotiations. It doesn't seem like we've heard anything on the state of negotiations, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but the city, a small minority of the citizens passed a huge tax extension on this consent decree, and it just seems like we should have some information about what's going on with the negotiations to make it more palatable to the citizens of Fort Smith. But I think the board, as I've said before, is missing the boat. Not only do we need a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Aqualaw, we need a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with an engineering firm that can also provide specialized assistance with engineering issues that will give the citizens complete confidence that our bidding process, for example, I mean, we sat in this room a couple of months ago and million after millions of dollars could have been thrown away because we executed apparently these bids at the same time. And I mean, literally I think it was something like, was it $8 million? Was it $4 million on each? But that's very concerning. And I just, with the amount of money that the citizens have approved for the consent decree project, why does the board not even respond to my question after question to hire an engineering firm, a specialized engineering firm that's going to direct this project and manage this consent decree project from now until the end of it? It's good money. It's good tax dollars that are spent on a good project, and that is just like we have specialization with Aqualaw. In my opinion, we desperately need specialization with a qualified engineering firm. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have, please, a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any comments or questions from directors? Director Christina Katsavas.
Well, I would say I do agree that we need to hire a specialized engineering firm for the consent decree project. So if I have not communicated that effectively or clearly, I agree with that. Aqualaw, I don't think they're who we need to be working with. And Lance, you spoke to reduction in stipulated penalties. I don't know that I've seen that. I would say, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, when I've met with Paul Calamita, he said that Fort Smith was getting a better deal than we deserved. And I don't want an attorney that thinks I don't deserve a good deal. So what stipulated penalty reductions have we seen?
So our first, and I would have to go back and pull all the data, but one of the first ones that they actually hit us with was for over $2 million, and we got that negotiated down to, I believe it was $800,000. Another one that they had was around $750,000, and we got that down to, I want to say, between $500,000 and $600,000, and that was on the sanitary sewer overflows.
That's still a lot of money. What I have reached out to the White House, and I had been calling them, week after week after week, trying to get a meeting to, I told them this is oppressive. The people who bear the burden of this have a median household income of $56,000 a year, and they had agreed to meet with me and one or two other people. We were supposed to do that when we were in DC, and we were unable to do that because of the government shutdown. But, that didn't cost anything but my time. And they have agreed to meet again. I'm going to be going in February, paying for my own trip out of my own pocket, but I'm going back to meet with them and see what we can do. So I don't know that Aqualaw, for the money we're paying them, it doesn't seem like they believe in us. They don't think we deserve a good deal. I think we need somebody that believes in us, that can see the progress we're making, that, we're approving projects all the time for consent decree, and that will really go in and advocate for us. Because when I was advocating with the White House, with the Trump administration, I said, this is oppressive, and I sent them the information. They said, we agree. So, and I'm not an attorney, and I'm not charging, what are they charging per hour? Is it $200, $400?
$480.
$480. Yeah, thank you.
Director Martin.
A couple things. So while the government was shut down, we did get notification from our attorney that he had been authorized not to do any negotiation or not to work on our modification. Is that correct?
Correct. Ken Long with DOJ did send an email that said that he was told basically to stand down from all consent decree projects that he was working on.
So when did the government open back up?
In November, right before Thanksgiving-ish.
Okay. So we've got a gap there. Secondarily, we budgeted money for an outside firm in 26, 27, 28. Am I correct on that? In our CIP.
For an engineering firm.
For an engineering firm.
Yes.
What Mr. McCutcheon was talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want everybody to hear that. It's budgeted. We've just got to go do it. We got to hire them and do it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Dingman.
No, I'll say that I do believe Aqualaw has advocated for us very well, and I understand the comments that were made, but also those types of comments made to your client in a one-on-one meeting are one thing, but advocacy before the Department of Justice and the EPA and in court is a different thing. And I do believe that Aqualaw is representing us and fervently in terms of dealing with the Department of Justice and getting us where we need to be.
Any other comments or questions from directors? Director Kemp.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Colby, if you could speak to this. I just have a quick question. Once again, if the city determines if we hear nothing from the DOJ and the EPA and resolutions back to us, and then say the next 4 months, and we decide that the services that Aqualaw is providing are very much inadequate, can we terminate this agreement as is written?
Well, as I understand the proposed agreement, it's as needed hourly basis, and if the city doesn't request services of Aqualaw, then there's no payment due. So unless there's an agreement that ties you to a term, which I doubt that is the case, then the city's not bound to keep using Aqualaw if it doesn't want to use Aqualaw.
Or could we also retain one of their competitors to represent us per se? Is that going to be okay?
Unless there's something in the agreement that I haven't seen that somehow prohibits that, which would be very unusual, the city would not be prohibited from seeking any other expert legal counsel that it desires.
Okay, thank you.
Director Katsavas.
I have a question for Colby. Colby, in your time as an attorney, have you ever told a client you're getting a better deal than you deserve?
Director Katsavas, I don't believe I've ever said that, but as Mr. Dingman said, your attorneys can be very candid and should be very candid with the client. And I don't know what your interactions have been with Mr. Calamita. I haven't worked with Mr. Calamita very much, but I would be hesitant to say that if he's given you some sort of communication directly and privately, that doesn't mean he doesn't have the city's best interest at heart. I mean, I can't speak for him, and I haven't worked with him very closely, but I just caution that type of implication.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on item 7.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas,
What do we, tell me, explain it one more time.
this is to approve the contract with Aqua Law. For legal services, for consent decree.
When you're advocating for this? When you're advocating for this?
I would recommend it.
Okay,
But it is
if we don't renew, then what?
If we don't,
Yeah.
then we will basically utilize Daly and Woods, who does not have, although they're very experienced lawyers, and I have a lot of faith in them, do not have the specialized consent decree knowledge, if you will. So we have a relationship made with DOJ and EPA. They know Paul. They know.
But that was made under the old administration. That relationship was made under the Biden administration, correct?
But it's ongoing. It's been
Under, yeah, but it's
even
new,
under
new
Trump.
people.
And it was actually under Trump as well.
With new people.
Yes.
Okay.
We've
So-
been trying to modify this for how many years?
Since it was adopted.
Yeah, since 2015 when it was adopted, and it was the end of 2016 when the former city administrator was here that he got Paul, and we began working through that. DOJ was very obstinate at that time about any modification. We have seen a lot of movement. In fact, I guess it was this year, we traveled to Dallas to meet the new EPA Region 6 administrator. Mr. Calamita was there at the time, and he actually made some very strong statements to the new administrator about the work that Fort Smith has done, praising the work that we have done. And, that builds inroads. So do I recommend this? Yes.
But one more question. Once we get an agreement with DOJ as to the scope of the work, the years, this, that, do we still need them?
We can terminate it at any time. We could keep him on retainer and only pay him if we used him, and not pay him if we don't need him for a year. There's no billing. This is just the board authorizing us to utilize Mr. Calamita.
Where does their pay come from? What department?
It comes from water and sewer funds.
Utilities?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lance.
Director Katsavas, how are you voting on this?
One more time. I'll do this one more time. Yes.
Sorry, Christina Katsavas,
No.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 in favor and 1 opposed.
Thank you. Item 8 is a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 with Kraft Reynolds Construction Company for the 2017 SSA remedial measures in subbasin MC08, project number 19-17-C1. Mr. Dingman.
Thank you. Items 8 and 9 are two resolutions related to the same project. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing a change order to reduce the contract amount and performance period of a contract with Kraft Reynolds Construction Company for construction of SSA remedial measures on project number 19-17-C1. Item 9 is a resolution accepting the project as complete and authorizing final payment on the project to Kraft Reynolds in the amount of $407,135.49. Mr. Jimmy Johnson is here to speak to this item or answer any questions that the board may have.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, do you have any introductory comments on 8 or 9 you wish to make?
I've got a few. On October the 8th, 2024, the Board of Directors approved the bid of Kraft Reynolds Construction in the amount of $3,145,779. The scope of this project included approximately 2,301 linear feet of 8-inch diameter and 92 linear feet of 12-inch diameter sanitary sewer replacement using open cut methods, 2,166 linear feet of 8-inch sanitary sewer line replaced with pipe burst method, 1,831 feet of 8-inch cured in place pipelining, and 23 lining and replacement of 23 manholes. Included in your packet is a map showing the location of the project and project summary. The project has been completed and a reconciliation change order is required to adjust the contract to reflect the actual work performed. The change order provides for a deduction of $250,017.15 from the contract amount and also removes 94 days from the contract. The project was completed 7.95% below the contract amount, and the final completion date was October 28th, 2025. That I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did anyone sign up to speak on item 8?
None indicating.
Okay, then we need a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions from directors? All I will say is 94 days faster than originally thought and $250,000 under budget is good work. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors George Katsavas?
Yes.
Christina Katsavas?
Yes.
Settle?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Rigo?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Item 9 is a resolution accepting the project as complete and authorizing final payment to Kraft Reynolds Construction Company for the 2017 SSA Remedial Measures Subbasin MC08, project number 19-17-C1. Madam Clerk, did any citizens sign up to speak on item 9?
None indicating.
We need a motion to adopt the resolution, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions from directors? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on item 9.
Directors Christina Katsavas?
Yes.
Settle?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Rigo?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
George Katsavas?
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. There are 4 items on tonight's consent agenda. Item 10A is a resolution approving a contract with Daly & Woods, PLLC, for general legal services for 2026. 10B is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement with First Western Insurance Agency for insurance and risk management advisory services for 2026. 10C is a resolution authorizing the Fort Smith Police Department to apply for grant funding through the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Program, partnership program. And 10D is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 to the agreement with Fire Trucks Unlimited LLC for job number 29039 and authorizing final payment for job number 29039. That's Pumper 5. Do any board members wish to remove any item for separate consideration? Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, did any citizens sign up to speak on any of the consent agenda items?
Yes, we have 2 on item 10A, the first being Joey McCutcheon.
All right. Mr. McCutcheon, thank you.
I've given this some thought on the city's relationship with Daly & Woods. I think that the certainly $200 an hour seems very reasonable to me. I question very often why cases aren't settled. For example, the one involving Mr. Dingman with the internal auditor. You sat in on it, Director Kemp, and you saw the inconsistencies in the testimony. So I say that to say, I think sometimes we're seeing a very combative approach, not necessarily with Kobe. I think Kobe is a fine lawyer. I think the city has a wonderful lawyer in Kobe Rowe. But I see a combativeness, and I'm wondering if some of these, and I thought that Talk Business and Politics did a remarkable job in terms of FOIAing what the cost of our representation has been from 2020 to 2024, $2.25 million. That's an average of $377,000 a year. I don't know, and I don't know if you know, if that's a reasonable sum or not. But I think this board should wait right now, and I think they should have Mr. Dingman or whoever the responsible person is to do this, find out what Rogers is doing, find out what Russellville is doing, find out what Bentonville is doing, find out what Fayetteville's, a reasonable comparison to what we're doing. And can we hire a lawyer for, 2 lawyers for $150,000 and hire a paralegal for $30,000? And that way we lock it in, and we get new representation. We've had the same city law firm, and I've spoke on this before, since I believe this document says 1967, through this consent decree project. And to me, that's concerning that they were the city's lawyer throughout this entire process. And we see where we are today. And the question that I have, where were they and why weren't they speaking up year after year after year? And now this is dumped on this board to deal with this consent decree and the residents who live here now. So I guess the bottom line, what I'm asking is, table this and see what other cities are doing and see if there is a better approach. As I said, the fee's not unreasonable, $200. We obviously see that $480 per hour with Aqualaw. They're specialized though. But I think it's time to look at a different approach to what we're doing with legal representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, who else has signed up?
Next, we have Crystal Cadelli.
Thank you, Ms. Cadelli.
Good evening again. I want to speak on this because I do have some concerns about the current representation, and not because they're not capable. I fully agree with Mr. McCutcheon. I think that they are capable attorneys. My concern is the connections within the community, and I'm going to give you an example of that. The FOIA on the proposed sports complex really opened my eyes to some of the interworkings of the Fort Smith government. And, you know, it's very concerning to me that a private citizen can have communication with our city attorneys regarding an MOA. And unless I wasn't given a complete FOIA documentation, there was nothing in there that gave this private citizen permission to be communicating directly with our lawyers on an MOA. To me, one, the citizens are paying for that, and two, they should have their own legal representation. They should not be communicating with our city government and our city legal team on MOAs. The other thing that I would say is that I think that the city should be looking for law firms outside of this town. I think that, you know, even attorneys are subject to pressure from certain groups or certain individuals. So I'll ask tonight to, you know, pause this and do our due diligence on what other cities are doing and see if we can find other representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else signed up, Madam Clerk?
No, that's it.
All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Any director comments or questions on any item? Director Martin.
I will make a motion. I don't think we can necessarily, or excuse me, I'll make a comment. I don't think we can necessarily pause item A because we need representation in 26, at least for a period of time. But I think it would be worthwhile just to explore what happens in other cities and have something to the board by March. That way we have, we still have representation, but we've got time to do our due diligence. So I'd request that.
Okay. Director Kemp?
Just a couple questions on this since we're talking about it on the topic. Mr. Dingman, if you could, what kind of notice is posted? I know when we talked about this, there was an article and some research about, should we look for other people? But this is a professional services thing that any law firm could sign up to throw their name in the hat for consideration. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And who all turned their names in?
Well, first of all, the city clerk maintains the professional services list for the statements of qualifications that have been turned into the city for review on any sort of project regarding professional services, including legal representation, and and annually puts out that call for statements of qualifications to be put on the list for professional services. And in my understanding, this year, as in many of the previous years, Daly & Woods was the only professional service provider for general legal services that submitted statements of qualification.
And how are those notices posted out, or for firms?
I'll defer to the city clerk if she go through the process that she uses.
Thank you.
Yes, it is published in the Democrat Gazette every year by September the 15th.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Rowe, if you could, just for quick questions, if it'd be okay, if you'd be open to that. What's the city's scorecard over the last several years with representation with Daly & Woods? I mean, how has the city fared in court?
Well, there have been a handful of FOI cases where the court has found the city has not complied with the open records provision of the FOIA statute. Outside of those, the city initiates multiple eminent domain causes of action that our firm handles. We handled other general civil litigation. We've handled the lawsuit regarding the recycling class action. But outside of those FOIA cases, I don't know of any where the city has been assessed a judgment for damages. And again, I'm also not talking about eminent domain actions where the city is trying to acquire an easement right-of-way or a street right-of-way.
Sure. The other one is, would you want to give a comment to the question of the private citizen talking about an MOA? Is that something that you are aware of that transpired?
I think I know the circumstance. Regarding the indoor sports facility, well, first let me start with, I communicate daily, multiple times a day with city staff. City staff contacts me regularly, and that's, I think, what you would want. And there was a communication with our office that I handled with Ms. Backert, I think that's her name, of the A&P Commission, or through the A&P Commission about this indoor sports complex. And so through that communication with her, another individual was involved, and we were asked, Daly & Woods were asked to prepare a form memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement that could be considered by the city. And of course, that would have to come to the board at some point if it was ever going to be approved. And so, yes, I communicated with that city staff person as well as this other gentleman who was involved or proposed to be involved. That I don't think is unusual. I have communications with staff and others regarding city matters routinely.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say by policy, the administration should always, including with Aqua Law or any other legal representation, I would task that administration should always be pursuing the best representation. And if we don't have it, I don't look at the representation, I look at the administration for that. And I think when I look at the FOIA cases, those are things that I think led to us making good staff changes for reporting with FOIA. And so I appreciate that. I do personally prefer someone reachable, so I have concerns about outside town stuff for that reason. But I always want us to have representation, so I do plan to vote for it. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on consent agenda items?
Well,
Director
I would
Katsavas?
just like to say on item A, my concern was having someone that is separate and away from City Hall, but Also, like we saw with the 911 consolidation, that was going to turn into a multi-million-dollar deal. So, I think on its face, it would be worth considering what it would look like to have 2 attorneys and a paralegal. I just worry we'd take something like that and turn it into a $5 million expenditure. But I had looked into what Fayetteville was doing. I haven't called around to some of the other places. But that's where my thoughts are at. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the consent agenda.
Director Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rigo,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. As we start the officials forum, I just wanted to share a few things. Dr. Rick Murphy, who I think a lot of us know up here on the board and was a, active person for many, many causes in the community over the years, passed away late last week, and his funeral service is this Friday, the 5th of December, 10 a.m. at Immaculate Conception Church. He was somebody who made a large positive impact for good in this community, and he will be missed. And then also just wanted to make a special mention. We received these very, very nice prayer cards up to us this evening from First United Methodist Church, quoting from Isaiah 40, 10 and 11. The sovereign Lord rules with a mighty arm. He gathers his lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. We're keeping you in our prayers. We are very grateful for your leadership. May God fill your heart with special joys and discernment every day. Thank you. I know I noticed these at everyone's space up here. Thank you to Patty Payne and the Congregational Care Ministry team for these very thoughtful cards. Director Good.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A couple of things. I'm thankful that you mentioned Dr. Rick Murphy. I wanted to just point out that he was one of the founding members of the Arkansas Citizens Climate League, as well as the Arkansas Environmental Educational Association. The Vice Mayor said he was one of many people that we recognize that comes to our city board meetings that has a positive impact for good on our overall city staff and as well as the board. So thank you for mentioning, our friend Dr. Rick. And also, I also wanted to mention that Robbie Wilson also passed. He was also one of those founding members of the Arkansas Climate League. And we have a lot of people that we know personally in our families' work that have recently passed or have passed that, do wonderful things in the community. And, of course, we can't name them all, but, I know many that you don't know, and I'm sure you all know many that I don't know. But let's just be thankful that we have those relationships with those folks and thankful that they put their time and energies in the greater good for this city. Thank you. Also, speaking of greater good, I attended an event this weekend, and 2 of our departments were given awards for outstanding service to our city and to the citizens. The fire department and the police department received awards from the Fort Smith Roundtable, and Chief Danny Baker was there to accept the award on behalf of his department, who graced the stage with a little bit of dance moves, but nothing like Assistant Fire Chief Ethan, is it Millard? This guy got up there and proudly took his plaque. He also began to act like he was going to do a little strip and maintained that he said that I wasn't always, this professional before I became a professional firefighter. But anyway, we have a lot of wonderful things and a lot of wonderful people in our city departments doing wonderful things in the community. So thank you, folks.
Thank you, Director Good. Director Kemp.
Nothing for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Director George Katsavas.
Yes, Lance, one more time. Where'd he go? We need to clear something up. I've had several calls from people who are getting these letters about the pipes under their house, lead, copper. Mm-hmm. Okay, if they're lead, then what happens?
So we're required by the federal government to put out these letters, and these are for houses that were built before 1987.
Right.
So if...
Does the homeowner have to replace the pipes if they're lead? No.
No, they do
Okay.
not.
Okay. That's what's
We're
scaring
just
people.
we're just trying to find out, and really what we're looking at is from the meter up to the structure, so what's called the service line. What is the material that's there, because we have to report that to EPA. And we have a certain amount of time to do that. And the thing that we're requesting in those letters is if the homeowner wants us to do a determination, we have to have their permission to enter their property to do some test digging to find their line to determine what the material is. If they do not want us to do that, we're not going to go on their property.
Okay. People are just scared, look at $20,000, $30,000 to replace pipes. And I didn't blame them.
Yeah, this will be the fourth notification that we've sent out, and we're required from
Okay.
this point forward to do it
All
annually.
right, thank you.
Lance, if folks do grant you the permission to determine the material of the pipe, is there a cost
No,
to that?
no. We will do that, and we actually have that set up in our work order system, which is known as Lucity, and Mr. Meeker's team under Public Works will be doing that in the next several years.
Well, Lance, is this a precursor for the EPA to come in at a later date and say, okay, now you got to take them out?
So right now, the way the law is written, if there is lead between the main and the meter, we are required to remove it.
We, the city?
We, the city, because that's
Okay.
our service line.
Okay.
The issue that we have is from the meter
To the house.
to the house, the way that the interim lead and copper rule is written is that we are, if we know that that's what it is, EPA wants the city to pay to remove it. The problem is, in Arkansas, as well as many other states, that is illegal use of, you're talking about public funds for private benefit.
Right.
So several states have filed lawsuit on that, as well as the American Water Works Association. So that whole thing is in limbo.
Okay.
Central Arkansas Water actually tried to get a law passed that they could use bond funds to fund that project, and the state legislature defeated that.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Lance.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Director Katsavas?
No, sir.
Director Christina Katsavas.
Jeff, when I got here today, I had this at my seat, environmental quality report from the ADEQ, and it says that the Denali permit was renewed November 24th. Have you seen this? So I spoke, I think it was back in April, maybe. I spoke against this, 20 people spoke against it, and the permit was still renewed. So, I'm frustrated by this, because my understanding was that they were going to be shutting down operations. Is that the communication they've been giving us?
I've not had communication from Denali in quite some time, and I'm not familiar with the correspondence you've got.
Are those the same things? What they had that open house on?
Yes.
That's the same thing that we were talking about with the smell here
Yeah.
in Fort Smith?
The
Oh, okay.
lagoon.
I didn't know there's the same thing.
Yeah, the lagoon.
Can I address the board on that? I've talked to the lawyer.
Certainly.
Is that okay, Mr. Rego?
2 minutes. Can you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it'll just take a minute. My understanding is they renewed the permit to spread this stuff, but my understanding from talking to the lawyer is that they're closing down that pit over there, and I don't know that, I'm thinking that closing down the pit may solve a big part of our problem, and hopefully the board will, Mr. Dingman, somebody will continue to talk to Denali, because they've told me that by the end of the year, and that's kind of what they told us at that meeting, that they were closing down that pit. End of this year, that's right. Yeah, end of 25, so any time now. But I think it's important that our city government, as well as the folks that Mr. Dingman, our leadership, has contacts with, are contacting Denali, contacting their legal representation, putting some pressure on them, so that we get that closed down, because we're continuing to smell it. and hopefully shutting down the pit will solve the problem, but it'd be nice if they would start spreading these permits out across the state and not inundating the river valley with them. So that's kind of my take on where we are now.
Okay, it looks like I saw your name on here. They were gonna send you the same communication. Did you get it?
I haven't seen it, but I need
just
to
got
look.
it just now.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it, though. Thank you.
Thanks. That's all for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McCutcheon. Director Settle?
Yes, I'll talk about Christmas for a little bit. Last night, the board of directors had an opportunity to light the Christmas tree at Creekmore Park, but everybody knows that I do a Christmas show in the River Valley. And I thank Josh and the team for publishing about an hour ago the list of all the free shows that in the River Valley that is a tight community that we have. Besides myself and my parents show up, you have Extreme Light Show, Born Bright Light Show, South Hall Light Show. You have the Deadman Light Show in Greenwood, the Lights on Locust Show in Greenwood, the Freedom Tree in downtown Van Buren. There's a lot of free shows, a Hubert Family Christmas Show up on Riley Farm Park. There's a lot of free shows that people can drive by, enjoy the music, enjoy the time with their families. Just drive up, turn your radio station to the appropriate station, and enjoy the lights. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Martin?
As we talked earlier with the budget for 2026 for sewer, we had the money budgeted for an outside firm. How soon can we get an RFP out there to solicit firms and their opportunity to assist or oversee these consent
For
decrees?
project management, I mean, I think we actually have an RFP pretty close to ready to
Okay.
go. The board had asked for a study session discussion on that topic of project management in January. We have
Okay.
that scheduled for one of the study sessions
Okay,
in January.
very good. Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Dingman, anything? No, sir. All right, then we are going to convene into executive session to review applications for city administrator. Thank you. we have reconvened after reviewing some applications for the position of city administrator. Any thoughts or ideas or conversations on how we'd like to proceed moving forward? Director Camp.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. After talking through these candidates, I'd like to make a motion for us to consider tonight for Monday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m. to conduct some interviews. I would like to direct HR to get in contact with 4 specific candidates, at least from my seat of this, to see if they're available to be interviewed that night. Those consisting of Scott Rigby, Dean Johnson, Matthew Harlan, and Jeffrey Dingman.
Are we talking like Zoom, like a Zoom for the?
Like a Zoom interview. I'm seeing like a kind of like a time slot that we can designate for each of those with leadership direction of availability.
An executive session?
An executive session. Also asking HR to conduct a preliminary look over a background of each of those candidates prior to scheduling anything with them.
Okay. And I would suggest probably if anything does show up as HR is looking into the backgrounds of those 4 individuals, it'd probably be wise if they made us aware of anything that they come across.
Correct, yes, which would take appropriate actions.
I'll second that special meeting on the 15th. How many
Okay.
you need, Sherry, for, call it, 2?
4.
4? Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, a third, and a fourth.
If we could do a roll call vote to
Sure.
include the special meeting.
Yep, so please call that roll.
Directors Martin,
Yes.
Rigo,
Yes.
Good, Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas, Christina Katsavas, Settle.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you all very much for your thoughtfulness. Do we have a motion to adjourn for the evening?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.